Oil prices fell. Stocks rose after Trump's ceasefire announcement. Oil prices fell sharply on Tuesday after President Donald Trump agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran, raising hopes that the number of oil tankers able to transit the key Strait of Hormuz would soon increase. However, analysts caution that questions remain, including what would change as a result of the de facto blockade of the strait, through which about 20% of the world's oil supplies pass, and whether the ceasefire would lead to a long-term end to the war. U.S. crude futures fell more than 15% in after-hours trading to less than $95 a barrel, a significant drop, but still well above the $67.02 level reached on February 27, before the war began. Brent crude futures, the global benchmark, fell 13.75% to $94.68. Meanwhile, U.S. stock futures and Asian markets jumped. Dow Jones Industrial Average futures jumped more than 1,000 points, or about 2.2%. S&P 500 futures rose 2.4%, and Nasdaq futures rose about 3% in over-the-counter trading. As of 10:41 a.m. local time on Wednesday morning, Japan's Nikkei 225 index was up 4.9%, while South Korea's Kospi was up 5.7%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index rose 2.8%. The market is eagerly awaiting good news, but it remains to be seen whether the opening will be announced, said Bob McNally, founder and president of Rapid Energy Group. That's the big question, and so far, Washington and Tehran seem to be at odds with each other. While Trump celebrated his victory on social media, Iran emphasized that the ceasefire was only temporary. This is not the end of the war, but all branches of the armed forces must obey the supreme leader's orders and cease fire, read a statement read on the state-run IRIB news channel. Nevertheless, the surge in stock prices and the fall in oil prices sent an extremely clear signal, Art Hogan, chief market strategist at B. Riley Financial, told CNN. Investors would like to see the Strait of Hormuz reopened and this conflict behind them. Trump agreed to the ceasefire less than 2 hours before his 8 p.m. ET deadline to destroy an entire civilization. He stated that the agreement was contingent on the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. We have received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is an acceptable basis for negotiations, Trump wrote on Truth Social on Tuesday evening. The war in the Middle East and the effective closure of the crucial Strait of Hormuz have caused the largest oil supply shock in history, affecting an estimated 12 to 15 million barrels of crude per day. Both futures and physical oil markets have signaled serious warning signs. However, whether the strait can simply return to normal operations remains an open question. Iran has also declared victory and announced that its military will regulate passage through the Strait of Hormuz, giving Iran a unique economic and geopolitical status, according to a statement from the Secretariat of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. The ceasefire hasn't really clarified anything regarding the situation in the strait, Patrick Dahan, head of oil analysis at GasBuddy, said on Tuesday. And the long-term consequences will not be immediately apparent. In the short term, Iran's ruling regime has appeared to have consolidated its political control and demonstrated its ability to bring global oil and gas markets to their knees. Carl Chmada of Corpay Currency Research wrote in a research note late Tuesday.